Hey everyone, it's Libby Lawson, and today I am reading you Chapter 1 / Episode 1 of my rewrite of Fate the Winx Saga Book 1. I'm hoping to write at least 4 books, so I hope you guys enjoy. This is a quote from Fate the Winx Saga. Hey, you want to protect yourself. I totally get that. But trust me, falling for someone is not something to protect yourself from. We're designed to fall in love. Our bodies release hormones when our gut bacteria is compatible. How crazy is that? And yet, we still resist. Why? To avoid getting hurt, to maintain some illusion of control. Losing control is the best part. And yes, it'll probably end. When it does, it could be the worst feeling ever. But that's life too. Don't push life away. From Flora, Fate the Winx Saga. And then this is a quote from Stella, Winx Club. Winx is essentially 3 things. First, it's your source of power, as in your strength, your energy. Second, it's what guides you. Thirdly, it's your magical identity. This is our cast. Now, because I didn't really care about the casting for Fate Winx Saga from Netflix, some of the actresses might be the same as the other ones, because I did not care. I also didn't care that Musa was played by someone who wasn't an Asian actress. Do I think she should have been? Probably, if Netflix wanted to win the audience, but at the end of the day, I didn't care. What I cared about is how good the actress was, and Alicia, she was great. So first up, we have Abigail Crowan, who plays Bloom Peters, Flame/Fire Fairy, Soul Protector of the Dragon Flame. She played Bloom in the original series. Princess Stella is played by Hannah Van Deer Western. I hope I say that last name right. A bright/light fairy, heir to the Solarian throne. Flora is played by Pauline Chavez, nature/earth fairy. Musa is played by Alicia Applebaum, an empath, great dancer, and singer. Sage Techna is played by Michelle Sieber. Now, because Techna wasn't in the original series, which I think was a terrible mistake on their hand, I decided to find a great actor for her. The original 4 girls that we see in, like, Bloom and Stella, and the original, like, those 3, Bloom, Stella, and Musa, they're played by their original actresses and actors from the Fate the Winx Saga. And so is Flora. She doesn't appear until season 2. But Michelle is... This is Michelle Sieber. And I chose her because a great amount of fans wanted her to be Musa. She also rocks the short hair. I don't think she has short hair right now, but it seems like she's okay with embracing short hair. Next up is Sky, played by Danny Griffin, which is the same person who played him in the original series. I think he did an amazing job, and he and Abigail are boyfriend and girlfriend, if y'all don't know. Heir to the Heraklion Kingdom, I am keeping that, and the older twin brother of Prince Brandon. Yes, I made Prince Brandon. I made him a prince. He's the twin brother. And why did I do that? Well, it's quite simple. It's because it works better story-wise. I did it because this is the only way I can keep the whole switching their names storyline, which was in the original Winx Club. Nobody's going to believe a squire of Sky is actually Sky. That's just not believable. It's not. And also, there are hundreds of pictures of Prince Sky probably everywhere. So it's not like they're going to believe that Brandon is Sky. Unless he was his twin, because that could work. You guys want to see what his his actor is? Leo Howard. Leo looks like this. Ugh, my stupid Wi-Fi. I don't get why my Wi-Fi is acting up. It should be working perfectly fine. It'll take a minute. Riven is being played by Freddie Thorne, which is the same person who played him in the original series. He is Sky's roommate and a specialist. Timothy, or Timmy for short, is being played by Griffin Gluck. Sam Harvey's roommate, great with technology, goes by Timmy. So yeah, that's basic gist. Moving that over there. Sorry about my Wi-Fi, everybody, but I'm not going to go through with trying to reconnect over and over and over again. I'm not going to try and redo this video. Hopefully it'll get all the video in it. There we go. Okay, so this is Leo Howard. He is going to play. He would play Brandon. And honestly, he looks a lot like him. This is Danny Griffin. Something worth noting, they're fraternal twins, so they're not going to look alike. This is Griffin Gluck. This is who plays Timmy. I chose him because a lot of people like him. I also like his acting. He's really good at it. He's also played stuff with Pauline Chavez. Next up is Sadie Silverall, which plays Beatrix Storm, aka Stormy. She is called Stormy by her sisters. She is a storm fairy / blood witch, often referred to as Stormy by her sisters. Darcy is played by Joey King, a mind fairy, which means she's a telepath and an empath, and a blood witch. Both telepath and empath. This is Joey King. I chose her because she looks like she could be Darcy. I know it's not everyone's first choice, but if you really analyze this person, she looks like she could be Darcy. Next up is Isabel Ice, played by Catherine Newton. She is a snow / ice fairy, blood witch, also often referred to as Icy by her sisters. A teacher at Althea mostly teaches snow / ice fairies. So she's about 20 years old in the first season. Beatrix is 16, Darcy is 18. I chose them to be at least 2 years apart. It just makes sense. This is Catherine Newton. I'm gonna strangle my Wi-Fi. Let it load. Sam Harvey is played by Jake Dubman. That's the same person who played him in the original series. I really liked him. He was probably the only good thing about, like, the only good new character they made. And he is an Earth Nature Fairy, older brother to Tara Harvey. Tara Harvey is the character that I hate desperately. Like, I don't like her at all. Desperately is probably the wrong word to use, but next up is Princess Olivia Loxton. Yes, I built myself into this series. Don't judge me. She's played by Spencer Barsona, an all-powered fairy teacher at Althea. Mostly teaches water and ocean fairies. Bloom's mentor. Olivia is Bloom's mentor because she's a changeling. And the reason why I added myself in is because she has, like, I've written books about myself similar to this kind of stories. So yeah. This is who plays Icy. This girl right here. Granted, I would make her hair a little bit lighter and add some blue highlights to it. Like some very light blue highlights to it. But other than that, I think she would do a great job. And this is who is playing me. This person. Please tell me if she looks like me. I mean, I think she looks similar in a way. So. Next up is Princess Daphne. Yes, I decided to keep her, which is played by Peyton List, an all-powered fairy, Bloom's older sister, and heir to the Domino throne. I watched the version on Nickelodeon, and they called it Domino. I know it's referred to as Sparks, but, you know, that's just what I got. This is Peyton List. She seemed like a good choice for Daphne. Myrta is played by Sophia Lillies, a mind fairy / bloodfish, younger sister of Lucy, both empath and telepath, minor character. This is Sophia Lillies, right here. I figured she was a pretty good choice. Wish her hair was a little darker, but it works. Next up is Lucy, played by Haley Ortina, storm fairy / blood fairy, older sister of Myrta, minor character. This is Haley Ortina. And bonus, she's a Christian. Francine, an ocean / water fairy, minor character. Francine was a very minor character also in Winx Club. She's played by Sadie Sink. Winx Club. Francine. This is Francine from Winx Club. Next up is Loiana, which is played by Bailey Bash. She's a graduate from Althea, air / lightning fairy, minor character. Loiana also played in Winx Club was a character in Winx Club as a minor character. So I actually utilized the fact that you could get original characters from Winx Club and add them as minor characters. Makes it more fun. Winx Club. Loiana. Esloiana. This is Bailey Bass. The person who plays her. Devioso is played by Nichols Finch, a graduate specialist minor character. This is Devioso. Looks like he went through a couple of hair stuff. But this is who plays him. While that's loading, because it's going to take a while. Aisha is played by Precious Mufasa, Water Fairy, minor character. This is the same person who plays her in season 1 of Winx Saga of Netflix. But what's worth noting is that she's in the first season. In my book, she's not in the first season until the very end. She's more in season 2. This is Niles Finch, by the way. That's who plays Devioso. Moving forward, Saul Silva is played by Robert James Kleider, headmaster of specialists, Olivia's uncle, and Sky's mentor. Farrah Dowling, who's played by Eve Best. Sorry, I skipped that. Headmistress of Althea, Olivia's grandmother. Olivia has some family history in this series, so yeah. Ben Harvey, played by Alex McQueen, which is the original actor who played him in the first season of Faith the Winx Saga. He went through a casting change. Professor at Althea mostly teaches Earth/Nature fairies. Sam and Musa's father. Griselda is played by Bennett Newitt, Farrah's assistant and an amazing mind fairy. This is Bennett. It's gonna take a moment. This is Bennett Newitt. Palandimi is played by Cody Fern. Professor at Althea mostly teaches storm, wind/air fairies. Professor Dune Forth, played by Gemma Chan, a teacher at Althea, mostly teaches bright/light fairies. You guys might be starting to recognize these people. This is Gemma Chan. Griffin, played by Helen Marine. Actually, I'm going to change that to Clara. Griffin. Griffin is her last name in my series, but Clara Griffin, played by Helen Marine, headmistress at Cloud Tower, the hidden school for blood witches. This is Helen Marine. Because she was a good choice. King Randor is played by Jason Momoa. Same person who played Aquaman. Queen Luda is played by Kristen Dunst, somebody who did not play her in the original Faith the Winx Saga. This is Kristen Dunst. This is who should have played her, not the person they chose. Princess Desperoro, yes, I did add her in, is played by Natalie Inca-Lynn, the Princess of Dorlory, an ice fairy, often called Dia by Prince Sky, who is her betrothed. So, this is Natalie. Terra will be mentioned, but is an Earth fairy attending Macaron Academy. Dane will not be appearing, nor will he be mentioned. those are two characters that I think should not have been added in. They really ruined the series for me. This is chapter 1, episode 1. If you see that it's not indented, there's a reason behind that. It's supposed to be written like a script. So, let's start. This is thing. Okay. In the woods near Althea, past the barrier, 3 sisters are talking. I see. Are you going to carry that thing all the way back to Cloud Tower? Asked Stormy. Well, of course. How else am I going to show Head Mistress Griffin our proof? And that's one thing. And that thing is a burned one. There are more where that one came from. With a simple mind spell, this thing will do our bidding. Find the dragon flame, said Darcy as she got closer, looking at the burned one. She got a closer look at the burned one. Okay, well, the burned one is looking for the dragon flame. What are you two going to do? Icy asked as she looked at her 2 sisters, Stormy and Darcy. We're going back to Althea. Stormy can use her first name Beatrix and be a first-year storm fairy, while I am going back for my 3rd year as a mind fairy, answered Darcy. After all, we know the history of that place is a lot darker than Darling nor the faculty want anyone to know, said Stormy as the 3 sisters stood at the edge of the woods looking out at Althea, the school for fairies. Meanwhile, on Earth, or the First World, as most people from the fairy world refer to it as, Althea's headmistress, Farrah Dowling, was convincing Bloom's parents, Mike and Vanessa, to let Bloom go to Althea. Of course, her parents didn't know the school was a place to teach fairies how to control their magic. As for Bloom, she was riding her bike, still pondering the question of how magic is real. But Headmistress Dowling was doing a fine job convincing her parents. They were in the dining room table area discussing the school and Bloom. Check that. There is no N in Dowling. Okay. Will we be able to keep in contact with our daughter? Asked Mike. Yes, phones are allowed in the dorms, but not in classrooms, answered Headmistress Dowling. Will you keep us updated on Bloom's progress and how she is adjusting? I will, but I think this new environment will be good for Bloom, said Headmistress Dowling. I can assure you. Althea is a fine school, if not one of the best. Here is the syllabus. Here, this is a syllabus that tells you all about the school. Bloom is a unique girl. She deserves a unique school. I don't know. She's just our little girl. She's never been that far from our home, said Mike, concerned. But we always knew Bloom's path would be different from others. And if Bloom hasn't been doing well in this environment, maybe a new one will do her some good, said Vanessa. Well, it seems I'll be seeing Bloom at Althea, said Headmistress Dowling, as the meeting began to end. You will be, said Vanessa as she and Mike stood up from their chairs. And Mr. Darling also stood and shook hands with them. Thank you for being with us, said Mike. Thank you for hearing out this momentous opportunity for Bloom, said Headmistress Darling as she left the house. Outside of the house, Bloom greeted Headmistress Darling. So, what'd they say? Asked Bloom. It looks like I will be seeing you at Althea. How will I be getting there? Stella will show you the way, said Headmistress Darling as she introduced Bloom to Stella. I look forward to seeing you, Bloom. And with that, Headmistress Darling left. Stella walked towards Bloom. I'm Stella, and let's get you to Althea, said Stella as she greeted Bloom. Do I need to get my bags? Yes, go say goodbye, get your bags, and I will get the portal ready, said Stella as Bloom left to get her stuff. Bloom ran to her room, grabbed her bags, and said goodbye to her parents. Stella and Bloom went through the portal. Bloom was at Althea, a school for fairies. This is where Bloom would learn to control her fire magic, her fire powers. Bloom was amazed. You seem surprised, said Stella as they walked the halls on their way to Bloom's dorm. Well, if you really want your mind blown, 3 months ago, I didn't even know any of this existed. Yes, well, your world may not be always thrilling, but it beats this one. There are 15 kingdoms in Fairy World, technically 18 if you count the 3 Lost Kingdoms, said Stella as they reached the Winx suite. Sorry, did you say 3 Lost Kingdoms? Many people know what happened to one of them, but the 2 are a mystery. These kingdoms will remain unnamed. I was half expecting a school full of Tinkerbells zipping around, said Bloom, still confused by her new surroundings. Disappointed? Just kind of bummed I didn't see a single pair of wings, said Bloom as she entered the Winx suite. Well, according to Headmistress Darling, we had wings in the past. As we evolved, transformation magic has been lost. Here we are. Your room is over there with Flora, said Stella, pointing to her new room. Bloom walked over to her room and was greeted by Flora in a room full of plants. Wow, you must really like plants, said Bloom as she sat on her bed. Well, I am an earth fairy, and plus, it runs in my family. I have an aunt/cousin named Rose, and a second cousin named Tara. Of course, Tara goes to Mockery Academy. Anyway, I'll let you get settled in. I'll let you get settled in while I set more plants outside, said Flora happily. Flora set up plants outside. Stella was getting ready for orientation. Maybe not too many plants. And who are you? Because that is an amazing idea, wondered Stella. Sage, Techna. Most people just call me Techna. I'm just trying to brighten the place up a little. Well, it's a shared space, said someone else. That doesn't mean you crowd plants in one area, Musa, said Techna. Musa puts her headphones on since her opinion may not be wanted. Okay, I'll stop, said Stella. Flora grabbed a few plants and moved them to new areas. Bloom walks over to Stella. May I help you? Asked Stella, who noticed Bloom looking at her. Yeah, are you changing? Asked Bloom. I am, answered Stella. I thought the orientation party was a casual thing. It is, so a casual thing you're changing for. I'm all about the fashion. So I must look my best, answered Stella. Okay, well, good luck, said Bloom as she walked away. Flora walks over to Musa and Tekna to offer them some plants. Do you want a succulent? Asked Flora to Musa and Tekna. I'm going to let you handle that, Musa, said Tekna as she walked away. Musa lowers her headphones. They're really low hip maintenance, very you. Sorry, not that I know you. If I take it, will you stop talking? Asked Musa. Flora looks disappointed. Flora, I'm just having some fun, thank you. Musa takes the plant and puts it beside her bed. Musa puts her headphones back on. Flora grabs another plant and takes it over to her room. Meanwhile, the building next to Althea, called Red Fountain, Saul Silva was lecturing the first years. So, after your classes, you are all mine, and I like the things I work. And I like things I own to work well. So you will train every day, find your skill, hone your skill, and eventually, even you, he said as he pointed to Timmy, one of the first years, can fight like him. Saul threw his sword to Brandon and engaged him in battle. Saul won, but Brandon still did well. He fights even better with a bit of advance warning, commented Brandon. He did all right, favored his left, but what else is new? Brandon's father is King Randor, same as his fraternal twin brother Sky, future king. That made Brandon a legacy and missions, but he still showed up on the first day and did the work. Well done, said Saul as he shook hands with Brandon. I expect nothing less from the rest of you. Whether you're third generation and your parents demanded you come, or I personally selected you from your kingdoms for service. That decision was made based on your natural talents in combat and weaponry, and I expect to see that skill in evidence daily. This place will seem like a nightmare until an actual nightmare comes. We are the first line of defense, a certainty when the future is uncertain. It must be nice to live in a world where you can be so soft, where you can fear so little disrespect seems like an option. This is the place where you need to toughen up. Do any of you know why the barrier exists? asked Headmaster Silva. To protect the school from the burned ones, answered Timmy. Have you ever seen a burned one? Nobody my age has. Most of them were destroyed during a battle that happened a long time ago, answered Timmy. But that doesn't mean they still don't exist. I was 10 when I saw my friend for the first time. I was gathering firewood with my father. We heard it. It was like grass, like a clicking. My father shot it twice. Once in the chest, once in the head. It didn't matter. Burned ones have inhuman speed and strength, and if they cut you, the infection that follows is swift and severe. I watched it happen. I watched the light dim from my father's eyes. When he dropped his shotgun, I knew what I had to do. Be thankful you've never seen a burned one. But if you ever do, pray that it kills you so that the ones you love will not have to. Now off with you all, said Headmaster Silva as Headmistress Dowling walked up to him. You need to check something out with Ben and me, said Headmistress Dowling as she and Sa walked towards the woods. Ben was there to greet them. They were looking at footprints. They're fresh. Someone was here last night. Could be a farmer, could be anyone, a fairy trying to find his or her way to the school, said Saul. Well, I'm happy to continue the guessing game, but this is char residue, said Ben as he examined the dirt. How long since the last sighting? About 2 decades, 16 years. We killed all the burned ones, answered Fairy. We thought we did. But what we think is irrelevant. The barrier is doing its job. Until we know for sure, we keep the word quiet. School has already had enough gossip. Last year. We don't need more this year. With that, Farah, Saul, and Ben left to return to the school. Back at school, every student was at orientation. Bloom was over with Stella. So, born in the first world. Yeah, Mistress Diane says I have a fairy ancestor somewhere in my bloodline. You must have an interesting story of how you found your powers, commented Stella. Yeah, can't be that bad. Well, I found out I had powers after a horrible dream. There was this voice and this kingdom covered in flames. It was almost like the fire had a life of its own. People were running. I eventually woke up and saw flames in my room. They were coming from me. I don't remember how long I let them burn. I just remember their screams. Flashback, Bloom's house on fire. Bloom, somebody help us, please. Mom, is she okay? Bloom asked worriedly. Get her out of here, said Bloom's dad, coughing. Flashback over. My mom was covered in third-degree burns. Because of me. Every night after that, I snuck out. I was so scared that I would hurt them again, that I slept in this warehouse near my house, at least until Headmistress Darling found me, said Bloom, still sad. Wow, I'm sorry, if you ever want to visit, just ask, said Stella as she showed her ring. Wow, that's a whole lot of ring, said Bloom, amazed by Stella's ring. Gateway ring, fairly heirloom. Are you sure your parents had no idea it was you? Yeah, the most mystical thing my parents believe in is knock on wood. Why? Asked Bloom. It's just odd. You drew on a great deal of magic without even trying. It's hard to believe you're from a dormant bloodline. Is there any chance you're adopted? Stella asked. Bloom smiled and answered, No, I've heard my story of my birth a million times. Miracle baby had a heart defect in the womb, but a day after I was born, it was gone. Oh, that can only mean... No, it can't be, said Stella, denying what she was thinking. What can't be? You're a changeling. Stella, what's a changeling? Asked Bloom, concerned. A changeling is a fairy baby that was switched with a human one at birth. It's barbaric, barely happens anymore, explained Stella. That's not possible, said Bloom. You're clearly very powerful, Bloom. You have to be pure-blooded. Wouldn't I know if my parents were my parents, Stella? No, that's just it. Whoever left you in the first world makes sure that nobody knows. So you would grow up in the human world thinking they're your parents when they're not. Look, I'm trying to help. Oh, thanks. I'm going now. I'll see you back at the suite, said Bloom as she got up and left. Musa, Tekna, and Flora were coming to check on them as Bloom left. What the heck did you tell her? Asked Musa, who could feel Bloom's emotions, being empath fairy and all. The truth, because someone's been lying to her, answered Stella. Hey, question. Are y'all two mind fairies? Asked Flora to Tekna and Musa. Empath, answered Musa. Telepath. I'm sure Bloom's okay, said Stella, assuring them. Meanwhile, Ribbon and Brandon are hanging out as Beatrix and Darcy run into them. Well, who do we have here? Couple of first years? I'm a first year. Darcy over here is a third year. We're a lot of things, boys, said Darcy as she and Beatrix kept walking. In the Winx suite, the girls find Bloom pacing in her room. Flora walks in. You okay, Bloom? Asked Flora. I'm fine, Flora. I'm gonna go for a walk, said Bloom as she left the suite. Flora walks over to Musa, who hurries into her bed with her headphones on. Flora, using her hands, asks Musa to take off her headphones. Do you think Bloom is okay? Asked Flora, worried. I'm sure she's fine. She probably just needs to blow off some steam, answered Musa as she began to put her headphones on. Sorry, so I know you want to listen to your music, and I totally get that, but we are stuck together for a while, so, said Flora as she grabbed a speaker from her bag. Borrowed this off my sister. It's a speaker. So we don't have to talk. You can be in your world, you just won't be alone in it. Yuza looks tired and overwhelmed. Or not. It's not a big deal, said Flora as she walked off a little upset. Flora, don't be upset, said Musa. I'm not. Can you stop with the fake happiness for one sec? I'm a genuinely happy person. And I'm an empath. I feel everything you feel. Your anxiety with me, your insecurity with Tekna, and your anger, all of it right now, if not worse than you. That's my gift, if you can call it that. I put my headphones on so I can take a break from everyone else's emotions and just focus on mine. But if you really want to know how I feel, explained Musa as she grabbed her phone and turned on the sovereign instrumental music. Meanwhile, in Headmistress Darling's office, Farah and Saul are talking as Olivia walks in. You called? I found a changeling in the first floor. You called Olivia. She's the only other changeling I thought she could mentor Bloom. Does Bloom know she's a changeling? Not yet. Wait, if Bloom is 16 years old and we saw burned one footprints this morning, said Saul, it could be connected. Yes. Suddenly they hear screaming outside. Saul calls Brandon and Ribbon. They all rush outside the school. They find Bloom running from a burned one. Olivia freezes its legs. Brandon and Ribbon use their swords and strike it, killing the burned one. What are you doing out here? Asked Brandon. I was practicing my firepower, trying to find answers to assure myself that Stella was wrong, answered Bloom. Boys, let's head back inside and let Olivia and Farah deal with this, said Saul as he and Ribbon and Brandon leave. What did Stella tell you? That I'm a changeling? Bloom, you are said Farah. She began to introduce Olivia to Bloom. This is Olivia, another changeling like you. She is going to be your mentor. She will help you find all the answers. Don't know why this did this. Well, that was episode 1/chapter 1, A School for Fairies. Hope you guys enjoyed. Bye!